Forgiveness is one of the most challenging things that most people struggle with, including myself. I used to struggle with forgiveness before I understood the mechanics. I don't know if I can say the mechanics behind the forgiveness, but perhaps the energetic work that goes when we forgive someone. And most people, when they think about forgiveness, they think about like forgiving someone from the physical level. Perhaps, they say, I'm sorry, and that's it. They feel like that's done. But that's not true forgiveness. Not to mention that most people try to forgive the other person from their ego mind. And that's kind of impossible because the ego doesn't ever want to forgive. The ego holds on to everything, like being very precious, and it has the feeling that the moment we forgive the other person, it feels like we kind of agree with what the other person did. But let me explain you what's happening when we actually interact with another person. So when we interact with the other person, our energies get entangled and we imprint our energy on the other person's psyche, and the other person actually gets to imprint parts of their psyche onto us. To give you an example, is like imagine you having a puzzle. If you have try to put a puzzle together, and then your friend has a puzzle as well, a different one, and you choose to work on their puzzle, on the puzzles, on each individual puzzle, at let's say your place or their place. And what happens when you get together? Pieces of your puzzle get mixed with the pieces of their puzzle just by mistake, not intentionally, almost like unconsciously. And then you go home and you bring home with you pieces of their puzzle, but leave behind some pieces of your puzzle, which means that you won't be able to complete your puzzle and they won't be able to complete their puzzle unless there is this exchange of energy, let's say energy, or you give back their pieces of puzzle and they give back your pieces of puzzle. But why we get to this place of having to go through forgiveness? Now, first of all, it might be that it is part of it is part of your karma contract, your karma agreement. You might have chosen, most likely, this person to come into your life and say those things and do those things for your highest evolution. So it feels like when you're looking at it from a conscious level, it thinks like, why would I do that? But it's just because your soul, when incarnates in this physical body, the purpose is to evolve, to grow, and to learn the lessons, to move to the next stage. The other thing might be that you probably wanted to learn this lesson because it was part of something that it was left behind from your previous life. Now, another thing is that sometimes we feel like, if we would have not gone through what we went through, probably we would have been better. Now, this is here, I invite you to pause and reflect on this, because sometimes all the challenges that we went through and all the lessons that we had to experience only helped us be where we are today. And the other thing to reflect on is that the other person is also going through their own lessons and learnings. And perhaps if they did something, maybe they did it unconsciously, although on a soul level, you both agreed for that interaction to take place. Now you're probably thinking, okay, all of this is good, but how can I get rid of forgiveness? Now I'm going to share with you 3 practices that you can implement to release that energy that's not yours. And the first one is heart visualization. Just imagine, find yourself a nice and comfortable place, quiet place where you can close your eyes, sit down, and imagine that the other person sits in front of you. And there is a beautiful white light exchange going from your heart to their heart. And when you see this beautiful exchange, as you take deep breaths in and out, you say to yourself, I choose to set myself free and I return your energy with love. Just imagine giving back whatever energy you might have taken, in the sense of like you're holding some grudges, some anger, some pain, some disappointment, and you return that. You're not holding any grudges towards the other person. You return that gently with love. Next practice is to burn and release ritual. You can choose the full moon, where you write down everything that you are upset with, everything that, pissed you off, so to speak, everything that annoyed you. And you write it down and burn it safely, just to release that energy from your energy field. Now, most people think like, okay, if I forgive this other person, the other person, then I have to talk to them. I have to call them. I have to contact them. You don't have to do any of that. What you're doing simply is clearing your energy field. It's releasing whatever no longer belongs to you. And the third practice is the Ho'oponopono, the Hawaiian prayer or mantra, where you say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. Because on a soul level, we are all one. And even if you feel, how can I say I love you to the other person? Your soul can say that. Perhaps your ego mind can't, but your soul, I'm sure it can say that. So these are just some practices where you can implement them and start slowly shifting the energy, start slowly feeling a little bit lighter, not carrying that heaviness and then dense energy with you, that resentment towards the other person, because it does affect you. Like I mentioned, you can't complete your puzzle because you have missing pieces or pieces that don't belong to you. And then by returning those pieces back to the other person, you get to feel lighter in your life. And the more you practice, actually, you begin to strengthen your energy field. And next time when you notice that someone is doing something that you feel it's annoying, you're not going to feel that annoyed because you're going to understand that it was a soul agreement for both of you to interact and come together so you can learn the lesson of forgiveness, which is one of the most challenging lessons. Well, let me know if you enjoyed this video, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please like, subscribe, comment, and I look forward to connect with you again next time. Bye for now.